The courtroom fell silent, a silence so sharp it could cut through bone. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows, casting golden beams across the polished floor, and there he stood, a man who should never have been there. Yet, he was the only one standing between a terrified woman and a verdict that could shatter her life. His name was Jared Hollesen. He was a single father, a man who spent his days cleaning floors and his nights raising his daughter after the untimely loss of his wife. Life had not been kind to Jared, yet he carried his burdens with a quiet dignity, never asking for attention, never seeking praise. His entire world revolved around his daughter, Maren, making sure she had a lunchbox full of food, a clean school uniform, and enough love to try and fill the immense void left by her mother. That morning had started like any other. Jared was finishing his routine cleanup at the Westbridge courthouse. Gregory Vance's hyperist lawyer, a man slick with arrogance and suited in confidence, suddenly bolted from the courtroom, abandoning his client without a word. He'd been forced to drop out, to work nights cleaning floors to support his pregnant wife, but the spark of that knowledge, buried deep inside for so long, was still alive. It was a flicker in the darkness of his past. "I'm not asking to be her lawyer," he said softly, his voice gaining a little strength. "Just someone to stand beside her until proper counsel arrives. No one should face this alone." Nara lifted her head, her eyes red and swollen. Her voice trembled as she looked at this stranger in a janitor's uniform. "Please, stay." It was a simple gesture, but it felt like an anchor, giving her a sliver of courage she thought she had lost forever. He was no longer just a janitor. He was a silent guardian. Then something unexpected happened. As Jared stood there, his eyes fell on a folder lying on the floor, dropped by the fleeing lawyer in his haste. It was half hidden under the table. He bent down and picked it up. Inside, he saw a timeline, a forged signature on a document, and a handwritten transcript of a conversation. The entire courtroom realized that the truth, once buried under layers of lies and legal maneuvering, was finally visible. It was being brought to light by the most unlikely person in the room. Nara looked at Jared, not as a janitor, but as a savior. It was as if she was seeing sunlight for the first time after months trapped in darkness. He hadn't just stood with her. He had fought for her. By the time Nara's appointed public defender arrived, breathless and full of apologies for the delay, Jared had already done the impossible. The evidence he found unequivocally exposed Gregory Vance's deception. The judge, after reviewing the contents of the folder, immediately adjourned the trial to review potential criminal charges against Vance for perjury and obstruction of justice. The gavel fell, but this time the focus was not on the disgraced millionaire. It was on Jared. As the courtroom emptied, reporters swarmed him, microphones and cameras in his face. Didn't want interviews. He didn't want fame. Jared smiled, tired but deeply at peace. I stood up for someone who needed it, sweetheart. That's all, he realized. In that moment, that was all he ever wanted, to make the world a little kinder, one small act at a time.